Once upon a time, in the vibrant village of Ndebele, there was a rich lady named Zola. Zola owned the most beautiful restaurant in the whole village. It was called the Golden Baobab. People came from far and wide to taste her delicious dishes. One sunny morning, Zola was walking through the market when she saw a man sitting by the side of the road. His clothes were old and torn, and he looked very hungry. His name was Davu. He was a vagrant, which means he had no home and no job. Zola felt sorry for him. Do you need a job? Zola asked Davu. Davu looked up at her with hopeful eyes and nodded. Yes, ma'am. I would love a job. Zola smiled. Come with me. You can work as a janitor in my restaurant. It won't be easy, but you will have food to eat and a place to stay. Davu was so happy. He followed Zola to the Golden Baobab and started working right away. He cleaned the floors, washed the dishes, and made sure everything was spotless. Davu worked very hard and always had a big smile on his face. A few months later, Zola had to go on a long trip to visit her family in another village. Before she left, she told Davu, "Take good care of the restaurant while I'm away." "I promise, ma'am," Davu said. "I will make you proud." Zola smiled and left on her trip. Davu was now in charge of the restaurant. He wanted to make sure everything was perfect for Zola's return. But Davu had a secret talent that no one knew about. He was a wonderful cook. Every night after finishing his janitor duties, Davu would go into the kitchen and experiment with different ingredients. He created new dishes that were even more delicious than Zola's famous recipes. The villagers soon noticed the wonderful smells coming from the Golden Baobab and started coming in larger numbers. Word spread quickly, and soon, people from other villages came to taste the amazing food. The restaurant became busier than ever before. Davu hired more people to help with the cooking and cleaning. Everyone loved working with him because he was kind and fair. After several months, Zola returned from her trip. She was excited to see her restaurant and meet her old friends again. But when she arrived, she couldn't believe her eyes. The Golden Baobab looked different. It was more beautiful than ever, and there were so many people. Zola walked inside and saw the happy faces of the customers enjoying their meals. She looked around for Davu and found him in the kitchen cooking up a storm. He was surrounded by new staff who were helping him prepare the delicious dishes. Davu! Zola exclaimed, "What happened here?" Davu turned around and smiled. "Welcome back, ma'am. I hope you like what I've done with the place." Zola was amazed. She tasted the food and couldn't believe how delicious it was. "This is incredible, Davu. How did you do all this?" Davu humbly replied, "I just wanted to make you proud, ma'am. I used my cooking skills to create new dishes, and everyone loved them. We worked together to make the restaurant better." Zola was overjoyed. "You have done more than make me proud, Davu. You have made the Golden Baobab the best restaurant in the land." But Zola's adventures and surprises were not over yet. Just as she was about to thank Davu, a messenger ran into the restaurant with urgent news that would change everything. Out of breath and eyes wide with urgency, exclaimed, "Miss Zola, there's important news from the neighboring village of Aquil. The king wishes to visit the Golden Baobab to taste the famous dishes everyone is talking about." Zola's heart skipped a beat. Is the king visiting her restaurant? It was an honor beyond her wildest dreams. She turned to Davu, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Davu, we have to prepare for the king's visit. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity." Davu nodded confidently. "Don't worry, ma'am. We will make sure everything is perfect." The whole village of Ndebele buzzed with excitement as they prepared for the king's visit. Decorations were put up, the finest ingredients were gathered, and everyone worked together to make the restaurant shine even brighter. Finally, the day arrived. The king's grand entourage entered the village led by the king himself, King Amani. He was a tall, regal man with a kind smile. The villagers lined the streets waving and cheering as the king approached the Golden Baobab. Zola and Davu stood at the entrance to greet him. Welcome, Your Majesty, Zola said with a deep bow. It is an honor to have you here. King Amani smiled warmly. I have heard much about your restaurant and the wonderful dishes created here. I am eager to taste them. As the king and his entourage settled at the grandest table, Davu and his team began preparing the special dishes. The kitchen buzzed with activity as they cooked up a feast fit for royalty. The aroma of the food wafted through the air, making everyone's mouths water. When the dishes were finally served, the king took his first bite. His eyes widened in delight. This is extraordinary, he declared. The flavors are beyond anything I've ever tasted. Zola beamed with pride. All thanks to Davu, Your Majesty. He has a true gift for cooking. King Amani turned to Davu with admiration. You have a remarkable talent, Davu. Such skill should not go unnoticed. I would like to offer you a position as the royal chef in my palace. Davu was stunned. Your Majesty, I don't know what to say. This is such an honor. Zola smiled at Davu, her eyes shining with tears of joy. You deserve this, Davu. You have worked so hard and brought so much joy to our village. This is your time to shine. Davu took a deep breath and bowed to the king. Thank you, Your Majesty. I would be honored to serve as your royal chef. The king smiled and nodded. It is settled then. But before you leave, I must ask you something, Zola. How did you come to hire such a talented man? Zola recounted the story of how she met Davu and gave him a chance. The king listened intently, nodding thoughtfully. It is a beautiful story of kindness and opportunity, he said, and it shows that sometimes the greatest talents are found in the most unexpected places. As the celebration continued, Zola and Davu knew that this was not the end but a new beginning. The Golden Baobab would continue to thrive and Davu would embark on a new adventure in the royal palace. And so, with hearts full of hope and excitement, they looked forward to the future, knowing that anything was possible with a little kindness and a lot of hard work.